Oh, Slugma, the often forgotten about fire-type Pokemon first introduced in Gen 2, and for good reason as well. Within Pokemon Gold and Silver, it ranks as the 15th worst Pokemon in the game. That's within the bottom 6% of all the Pokemon, with the base stat total of only 250. And amongst all 900 or so Pokemon, it's the single worst fire type by base stats. And those stats themselves are pretty bad looking too. It's amongst the slowest Pokemon in the game with a base speed of only 20. All of its stats are well below average, and its only somewhat redeeming feature is the special attack stat. So needless to say, we're going to try to use as many special type moves as possible within the run. As far as movesets go, Slugma does learn a few notable moves, including Stab Flamethrower, as well as Rock Slide for coverage and Body Slam for essentially everything else. Amnesia could be useful in theory, but pair it with how slow and frail Slugma is, and I suspect we're going to end up in a situation where it just dies before we can see any benefit from it. Okay, so before we get into the run, I'm just going to go over a few rules. Firstly, only Slugma is allowed in battles. HM slaves are allowed and are sometimes required for certain routes or certain gyms. Now, I'll be the first to admit I very frequently forgot to deposit the rest of the Pokemon, so occasionally you'll see that I have a team of Pokemon, but I did not use them for any battles whatsoever. Number 2, I will not be using any items in battle. Held items are okay, however. Number 3, there's going to be no cheats, no exploits, or any other means of messing with RNG. The only exception, of course, is modifying the game to give us a Slugma as a starter. So, without further ado, let's see if we can beat Pokemon Gold using only a Slugma. So we begin our journey in the only bedroom in the house. Strange. I'm not even going to ask where Mom sleeps. Anyway, as with all Pokemon games, we'll just go over the computer and withdraw the... nothing. We'll withdraw absolutely nothing, I guess. Alright then. Our mom explains how to use a smartwatch. We head out into the great outdoors to see a perfectly ordinary person staring into the Pokemon lab. Yep, that's normal. I don't see anything wrong with this scene at all. Let's run away. We talk to the professor who gives us our Slugma to start our journey. At first sight, I immediately think of Cherry Jello, so that's what we call our new friend. In return for this Pokemon, we agree to run an errand for the professor and encounter our first wild Pokemon. Finally, time to see what Jello is made of. Hint, it's something akin to actual Jello. So, we send them out, and oh dear God, we only have Smog. With a power of only 30 and 70 accuracy, and only a 40% chance to poison, we quickly discover just what kind of a run we're in for. The level 2 Pidgey is faster than us, but oh my god, we get the poison on our first hit. We hit it with a few more Smogs, and it goes down. Our first battle was miraculously successful. We eventually make it to Mr. Pokemon's house, where the world's leading expert on Pokemon are astounded to discover that Pokemon lay eggs. Wow. Really, guys? How long have you been studying these things and you only just discovered eggs? Oak gives us the Pokedex. Then we get a disturbing call from Professor Elm. Buddy, why are you calling us? We're a 10-year-old kid. Call the police about a robbery. What in the heck are we going to do? Seriously, bro. We figure we have some time to get back, so we spend a little while training our newly acquired Slugma to level 8, so it can learn Ember before we decide to head back and see what all the fuss is about. Along the way, we're stopped by a man who calls himself Trimark. and we're dumbfounded by the fact that he has a Chikorita. We placed Slugma in the middle slot, so he should have a Totodile. I really have no idea what's going on, but spoiler, you're going to see later in the run, it really makes next to no difference at all. So we just run with it. We get through the battle fairly easily, and upon arriving back at the lab, the professor is already talking to the police, as he should be. We inform them that the guy we saw matched their description of the Pokemon thief. They ask us the name, and we try telling them we don't know this thief guy, and they mistakenly take down the name Thief. Now listen, we know this Thief guy, and while he may be a bit of a jerk, he isn't a criminal. Trying to forget that we inadvertently lied to the police, we run away as fast as we can. When we finally reach Violet City, Jello is a whopping level 10, and we just burn our way through the entire Sprite Tower without much effort at all. We reach the Violet City gym with Jello at level 13, and to get through the first trainer, we get a very lucky critical hit to one-shot the Spearow. The second trainer has only Pidgey, which we defeat with just a few embers as well. Now, we face Falkner, our first gym leader and probably the first real challenge of the playthrough. He starts off with a level 7 Pidgey, which of course outspeeds us, and has super effective Mud Slap. It drops our accuracy a total of 4 times before we manage to finish it off, and it leaves us with only 26 HP after leveling up. Falkner then sends out an impossibly leveled level 9 Pidgeotto, and we take a critical hit gust. Not good. We miss all of our embers, and the Pidgeotto takes us out. It's apparent that we're going to absolutely need to do some grinding before we're ready to challenge him again. So we head back out, and at level 15, we learn Rock Throw. But we go for one more level before we face him off again, just for good measure. So this time, at level 16, things go much better for us. We outspeed the Pidgey and hit it with the super effective Rock Throw, taking it out in one hit. Perfect. The Pidgeotto still lands a critical hit gust, but our Rock Throw does more than half damage. The next Rock Throw misses, but we land the third one and we land ourselves the Zephyr Badge. Amazing. First one down. Now, on Route 32, we catch a Tentacool by fishing, and we call it HM User. I wonder what his role on the team is going to be. Shortly after, we go through a cave, and then we hit Azalea Town, only to find out that Team Rocket's causing a fuss, and we can't yet enter the gym. Great, we've got to go deal with these clowns. With Jello at level 20 at this point, we just Rock Throw our way through the entire Team Rocket problem. Honestly, they're not even a challenge for us at this point. So we go back up to the Pokemon Center, heal, and then we try to think of a strategy for Bugsy, remembering that they just use Bug-type Pokemon. So, easy enough strategy. Ember. With an entire gym that uses only bugs, yeah, we just kind of burn everything alive. And now it's time to face Bugsy. He starts off with a level 14 Metapod. No problem when you have fire moves. Next is Kakuna. We burn that thing alive too. And then he sends out a Scyther. Now that thing actually outspeeds us and hits us for almost no damage. Great. We use an Ember. It does more than half damage. We hit it once more, and we get the Hive Badge. Fantastic. 2 down. And somehow this one was way easier than the first. So immediately after getting the Hive Badge, we're faced with a battle with Thief. He sends out a Ghastly, and luckily his Hypnosis misses. We finish him off immediately with an Ember. Next, he sends out a Zubat, which bites us for a flinch. Then it confuses us. We make it through with a Rock Throw, and it survives. Great. We're up at half HP at this point, and we finish it off with another Rock Throw. 2 Pokemon down. Bayleaf comes out next, and it poisons us. Half HP plus poison, and Ember does only 2/3 damage. This isn't looking good. It hits us with a Razor Leaf, and thankfully we survive with 15 HP, where we can finish it off for the victory. That was close. We do the tedious Farfetch quest line, and we're rewarded with the HM for Cut, as well as Charcoal. Thank goodness. A held item that raises Fire-type attacks. Yes, please. We absolutely need this thing for what's coming next. In the forest, we happen to catch a Paris, and this is going to be our cut slave. From there, we make it through the rest of the forest relatively unscathed and hit Goldenrod City. Upon our arrival, I immediately get flashbacks of how absolutely horrifying the next gym is going to be. I can't deal with Whitney right now. This is going to be way too difficult. So I just head out to Route 35 and 36, as well as the National Park to train. We fight every single trainer in all of those areas, and Jello hits level 29 at this point. We run back to the gym, and we very quickly finished off all of those trainers as well. And with nothing left to do, we come to grips with reality and decide it's time to face her. Whitney sends out her Clefairy, and miraculously, we hit first. She uses an Amnesia, raising her special defense. As we know, another Ember won't finish it off. We risk the Rock Throw, and it barely survives. She hits us with a Double Slap, and we defeat it after another Rock Slide. No problem. Oh man, here it comes, the most horrifying Pokemon in existence. Miltank hits the field, and I can hear Jello silently weep for what's about to come. Of course, it outspeeds us, because why would a fat pink cow have a base speed stat of 100? That makes no sense, Game Freak. And it ends up using its signature move, Rollout. We need this Ember to deal big damage, and it does about 1/3. Oh no. The second rollout leaves us within the range of death. Our Ember ensures that if we only hit it one more time, we could take the victory. However, it's not meant to be. The rollout hits, and our dream of using only Slugma has started to become a bit of a nightmare. We grind to level 31 before trying again, and we get exactly the same result. We head back out, and after an agonizing grind to level 33, we face off against Whitney again. This time, we manage to bring Clefairy to about half with Rock Throw, and we finish it off with an Ember. She sends in the Miltank. She sends in Miltank, and it starts with Rollout again. Because why wouldn't it? Our Ember somehow does a little over half HP, and we survive the second rollout before finishing it off with another Ember. There we go. Third badge down. Let's get on our bike and get out of this horrible place as fast as we can. After a short bike ride, we arrive in Ecruteak City, and I immediately challenge the Kimono Girls for a little more experience, and so we can get access to Surf. I only get a single level out of all of this, and I move on to the gym. I make it through the trainers relatively fine, and we reach level 36 with Jello, and this is where we finally learn our first good move, Flamethrower. Now, for the real challenge. We're about to face off against Morty, who specializes in Ghost Pokemon. Morty starts off with a level 21 Ghastly, and Flamethrower gets a critical hit to finish it off in one shot. Wow, wasn't expecting that. His Haunter is faster, and he gets off a Nightshade for 21 damage before our Flamethrower finishes him off as well in one shot. Okay, so far so good. And that's where the trouble lies. Gengar. At level 25, it's significantly faster than our Slugma, and immediately puts us to sleep. At this point, we can only watch as it takes massive chunks of our health out with Dream Eater before we eventually lose. Knowing that we basically have to outspeed his Gengar so we don't get put to sleep, we just decide to do some training, and what better way than to fight our rival in the Burn Tower. He leads with a Haunter, which gets off a Curse before we finish it off with a Flamethrower. Zubat also gets burned to death with a single Flamethrower, as does Bayleaf, and his final Pokemon is a Magnemite. So, of course you guessed it, Flamethrower, and he just goes down in one hit. We absolutely wreck his entire team with only a single move. Nice. Jello, you're finally putting in some work. Knowing that we're still likely going to need a few more levels at this point before we can challenge Morty again, we just decide to head down to routes 38 and 39 to finish off every trainer that we can find. Jello reaches level 38 on route 39, and what's this? She thinks she's allowed to evolve? No. Jello, no. Bad girl. You're not allowed to grow up. You're going to stay a crappy little pool of flaming liquid for the rest of your life. Just the way that I like you. Shortly after this, we arrive in Olivine City. After our rival complains that Jasmine has selfishly abandoned her gym to take care of a sick Pokemon, we decide to investigate the lighthouse for ourselves. That, and I just don't think that we can handle Morty yet. We gain one more level in the lighthouse before finding out that the sick Pokemon needs medicine from Cyanwood, which is across the ocean. Since we can't actually use Surf yet, our hand is forced, and we do the Walk of Shame back to challenge Morty. The beginning of this rematch goes much the same, where we finish off his Ghastly and Haunter with ease. Gengar miraculously misses the Hypnosis, and we're able to finish it off with Flamethrower. Lastly, he sends out another Haunter, who hits us with a Nightshade before we finish it off, and we get the Fog Badge. Well, since we already finished up at the lighthouse, I guess the next thing to do is head over to Cyanwood City, grab the medicine, and challenge that gym over there. So, within the gym itself, the trainers themselves weren't much of a problem, and we easily finished off everyone in either 1 to 2 flamethrowers. And at this point, I was reminded of Chuck's signature Pokemon, his Poliwrath. Oh my god, I think we're going to be in trouble. Now, Chuck only has 2 Pokemon, but even with our 14 level advantage over his Primeape, he's still faster. He goes first, and he uses Leer to lower our defense. We do finish it off with a single Flamethrower, which is great. But that's when he sends out what will inevitably be a ridiculously hard battle for us. And his Poliwrath lands a Hypnosis to put us to sleep. Ugh, that's just the best luck that we're having here. He then uses a Mind Reader for some reason, followed by a Dynamic Punch. Now we're asleep and confused. All the while, we're still asleep, and to add insult to injury, he finishes us off with a Surf, raising the question of why did he show us all of the different moves he has when he could have just started with the Surf and put us out of our misery. Why did he have to toy with us like that? Chuck, you're cruel. You're cruel, man. Not wanting to take another horrific loss, we just decide to grind. At level 43, we learn Rock Slide, which is basically just a better version of Rock Throw, so why not grab it? We attempt to fight Chuck again at level 45, and at this point we one-shot his Primeape after getting hit with a Karate Chop, so not really much difference there. Debating our life choices, and seeing that we don't have any moves that will do any real damage to his Poliwrath because of our type disadvantage, we decide to go for a Rock Slide, and miraculously, we're faster this time. We don't do much, but oh my god, his Hypnosis misses. Thank god, that was a real stroke of luck. This is a lucky break we've been looking for. We change our tactic and we go for a Flamethrower, because why not try it? It's charcoal boosted. And he's at about half HP. Don't know why he went for Mind Reader again, but hey, lucky break. Amazing. We put everything we have into this last Flamethrower, and it barely survives. He goes for Hypnosis for some reason, and it puts us to sleep. There it goes. Lucky break gone. He then uses a Surf, it takes us down to 33 HP, and we need Slugma to wake up, but it's no good. He takes us out with the next Surf. Now, we did try this fight over and over again. I honestly lost track of how many times I even did this. Even with that lucky attempt and another lucky few here and there, we just weren't capable of winning at our current level. So, back to the grindstone. This time, we got up to level 48, and we came back to challenge him again. The first half of the fight was pretty much just like last time, and again, we managed to outspeed the Poliwrath just like last time. This time, however, we do just under half damage before he puts us to sleep. This is so infuriating. He goes for the Mind Reader, then a Dynamic Punch, before finishing us off with 2 more Surfs. Feeling like it's close, we decide to try again, and we do about half damage with Flamethrower. Poliwrath immediately hits us with a Surf for huge damage, and our next Flamethrower barely leaves it with a visible amount of red. So close. Having to finish off the fight, we send in our HM Slave, who should really just die. I mean, look at the level difference. But Poliwrath misses his Dynamic Punch, and we hit it with a Poison Sting, getting the poison. Oh my god, Poliwrath misses his Dynamic Punch and dies to poison. Oh my god, we beat Chuck, but we cheated. Oh no. I've got to restart. So we try this fight a few more times, but we still can't win. No matter what we do, it just ends up either putting us to sleep or getting just enough Surfs off that we can't do this. At this point, we decide to raise Jello to level 50 before we try again. We start off by outspeeding Primeape for the first time ever, and finishing it off with a single Flamethrower. Perfect. This is the best setup we've ever had. Finally, we're facing Poliwrath at full HP. Having learned Body Slam while grinding, we decide to give that a shot, and it does just under half health. His Hypnosis misses. Yes, thank God. Finally, our fiery little hero strikes it again and leaves it with a barely perceivable amount of HP. We manage to tank the Surf and we finish it off with one more body slam. Suck it, Chuck. Oh my god, this took absolutely forever. I knew this was going to be hard, but I was not expecting to need a 20 level advantage just to stand a chance against Chuck, who only has 2 Pokemon. Damn. Okay, so we head back outside, and we get the HM for Fly from Chuck's wife, who, it's a really odd conversation about him getting fat. I don't really need to hear that as a kid. I mean, if you try talking to a counselor or something, or maybe signing him up for a gym, yeah, I don't really need to hear that. Oh no, I kind of forgot that there was a sick and dying Pokemon in the lighthouse this whole time. Whoopsies! I've kind of just been spending hours grinding up my little Slugma here. We rush back and hope it's alive, and looks like we made it in time. Jasmine retakes her post at the gym, and Ampharos is saved. Not needing our HM slaves for this one, we convert them to Digimon through the PC, and we face who is likely going to be the easiest fight of the entire run so far. Jasmine uses only steel types, which are weak to fire, so I imagine this is going to be a cakewalk. She starts out with a level 30 Magnemite, which we take out in a single hit. Yep, kind of expected that. Next is her signature Pokemon, her Steelix, at level 35. This thing is super tanky, so I expect it to take at least 2 hits, and no, wait, it just died. Never mind! Last up is another Magnemite, which we just melt, and we secure the badge in literally under a minute. That was even easier than I thought it was going to be. I think we deserve that easy fight after the hell we faced with Chuck. So she gives us the mineral badge, and that makes 6 total. From here we make our way to Mahogany Town, which has absolutely nothing to do, so we head the only way we can, north. We surf to find that there's a Gyarados, who may as well be Jello's biggest fan. I mean, look at it. It's cosplaying, it's even the same color. Either way, we quickly finish it off, and then meet the Elite Force champion, Lance. We follow him back to town, and we find him forcing his Dragonite to use Hyper Beam on a human. What the actual f***? That could kill somebody, dude. Not wanting to get on his bad side because we kind of just saw what he does to those people, we're forced to go along with him and do whatever he wants us to do. We finish taking down Team Rocket's hideout essentially single-handedly, and when we leave, this happens. Oh my god. We got Pokerus. This is actually incredible. I've only ever had this happen to me twice before as a kid, and this being around the times that the games first came out, so I had no idea what that actually meant. Like, I even had one of those paper guidebooks, the official guide, and nowhere in there does it mention Pokerus. So, as a kid, I didn't know if this was a glitch, or if this was a good thing, or a bad thing, but hey, this is seriously going to help us out in this run, so that's amazing. Anyway, time to take on the gym. As you can imagine, it was a bit of a joke as well with us being a fire type. We essentially sweep everybody up until Price, so we just decide, what the hell, let's go for it. And then we sweep his entire team with a flamethrower. Well, essentially sweep. His seal barely survived with only a sliver of health. His Dugong took huge damage from the body slam, rested, then we finished it off with a single flamethrower. Last was his signature Piloswine, which was very quickly roasted, and that got us the badge. We step outside, and Professor Elm informs us that Team Rocket is still up to their antics with the radio broadcast, so we head back to Goldenrod to handle that. Really, there was nothing noteworthy happening throughout the entire Rocket fighting, so I'm just going to skip over until we head down to the underground and have our rival battle. And this time, it somehow went even smoother than last time. We absolutely annihilate his entire team in one hit. No surprise, seeing as we're nearly twice the level of his entire team. Down goes Golbat to a rock throw. Haunter, Magnemite, Sneasel, and Meganium to Flamethrower. And it's at this point I realize just how unbelievably weak to fire his entire team is. Why? Just why? Game Freak, why did you do this? Whatever. We finish up with that and plow our way through the rest of the rocket junk just to finish it up without any real issues at all. At this point, I start to think about what's coming up, and I decide that I need a little bit of a plan. Our moves are a bit lacking at this point. I mean, Flamethrower is Stab, and easily the best move that we have, and arguably one of the better fire moves in Gen 2. I'm personally not a fan of Fire Blast for the low PP and the horrible accuracy, so I'm not going to be teaching Slugma that. And I don't think that it would carry us through the Elite Four. Again, mostly due to PP issues, so I'm not doing it. Body Slam is fine, and Rock Slide is pretty good for the coverage. And we have Amnesia, and although it's good, it's situational, and in every battle that I've tried to use it, I've just gotten wrecked. Slugma's just too frail to use it, so at this point we decide to go for the TM for Return, which I'm going to replace Amnesia for now. I figure at the level we're at, we're likely at max friendship, so I figure it's worth the trade-off. Just in case it does a little less damage than Body Slam, I'm going to keep that in the lineup for right now, do a little bit of testing and see what happens. I'm not going to bore you with the trip through the ice path, it was completely uneventful, and then we eventually arrive in Blackthorn City. Very first thing we do is head straight for the gym. Yes, I forgot to deposit the HM slaves once again. The trainers went down easy enough, and we arrive at Claire. Being a dragon-type trainer, I feel like we're going to be slightly disadvantaged against her, as Flamethrower just isn't going to be effective against her dragon types. She leads with her level 37 Dragonair, and we start off with Return, which it just barely survives the hit. Thankfully, Thunder Wave misses, and we finish it off with another Return. Next is her level 40 Kingdra, who is faster, and it lands the smoke screen, dropping our accuracy. Luckily, Return hits for about half damage. She hits us with Surf, and I think it's all over. Luckily, Jello is stronger than I thought, and it lives with 62 HP. We land another Return to finish it off. Next is a level 37 Dragonair, and we know exactly what to do. Return, and it barely survives. This time the Thunder Wave lands, paralyzing us and allowing her to strike first next time. We survive a Thunderbolt somehow, and we finish it off. One Pokemon left. And it's yet another Dragonair! And it stupidly uses Dragon Breath, so that doesn't kill us. But then we miss the Return, and we lose. At this point, we figure that was so close, and I'm almost convinced that we can do it, but just so we don't waste time trying this over and over, we go for routes 45 and 46 to train. We gain 2 levels before we head back and rematch Claire. I accidentally spam the A button at the beginning of the fight and accidentally use Flamethrower. Her Thunder Wave miraculously misses again, and we finish it off easily. Kingdra takes a little more than half damage, and we survive the Surf with 71 HP this time. The second return hits, and it's done. Kingdra goes down. 2 down, 2 to go. Dragonair now goes down to a single return, and the last Dragonair survives. It paralyzes us and uses a Dragon Breath, but it's no use. We get through the paralysis and finish it off, and we earn our final gym badge. We do the necessary things in the Dragon's Den, and then we finally head off to Victory Road. Our rival challenges us again, and I'll spare you the details. We won just as easily as last time. Flamethrower and Rock Throw killed everything in a single hit. Cue the compilation here. We make it through the rest of Victory Roads, and by this point, we're level 65. This is it. We face the Elite Four. There's nothing left to do. There's no going back now. First up is Will and his Xatu at level 40. We use a Rock Slide and take it down in one hit. Wow, what a great start. Next is Slowbro, and we go for a return. It does less than half, and he uses an Amnesia. Psychic does a bit of damage, and we finish it off. Next is another Xatu, and it lands a Confuse Ray. We hurt ourselves, and we get hit with another Psychic, which does huge damage. Rock Slide takes it out, however. His second last Pokemon is an Executor, which we easily finish off with a single Flamethrower. Last up is a Jinx, and that also goes down easily as well. Single Flamethrower, goodbye Jinx. There we go. One Elite Four member down. We heal up using some potions, and we move on to Koga. He starts off with Gyarados at level 40. Flamethrower takes it down, and he follows with a Fortress. That thing is a little scary as it's known to explode. We manage an Oko. Yes! Thank you. That could have been run ending right there. And next he goes for Muck. This is the first thing that he sends out that we don't have an advantage against, but we still manage to take it down almost all the way. He uses Minimize, and miraculously, we still hit, and we take it out. Next, Crobat comes out with a double team, and we still land the Rock Slide. My god, Jello, you're a freaking beast. It's not good enough to take it out, but he does go for the full restore. At this point, Body Slam does about half damage, and he poisons us with Toxic. Not good, but not the worst thing that could happen. We get through the double team again, and we manage to finish him off. Last up is Venomoth, and a single Flamethrower, and it easily falls to Jello. Match 2 done. Now I have to say, these two were actually pretty easy, and I didn't actually have any doubts that we'd get through these two. Next up, however, is Bruno. I really don't have anything to deal with his rock and fighting types, so I think this is going to be a bit of a struggle. He starts off the match with a level 42 Hitmontop, and we go for a Flamethrower. It's somehow enough to finish it off in one hit. Crazy what having a level advantage does. Onyx comes out next, and we go for Flamethrower to try combating its pretty solid defense stat. Even though it's not effective type-wise, it's still enough to finish it off. Next up, he sends out his Machamp, which is level 46, and Flamethrower manages to bring it down nearly all the way. He gets a critical hit Cross Chop, which does massive damage to us, and he uses a Max Potion. We get a critical hit on our next Flamethrower to bring it down all the way. Hitmonlee is next, and we easily finish that off with a single flamethrower as well. Last up is his Hitmonchan, which goes first with a priority Mach Punch. We somehow survive this as well and defeat Bruno with one final flamethrower. Oh my god, what a match. My heart's racing. This was very close. We heal up, and then we go face Karen. She leads with Umbreon, who's very special defensively focused. We go for a flamethrower anyway, and it survives to hit us with a sand attack. We land a second one to finish it off. Next is Gengar. It uses Curse, which helps us finish it off in one hit, but now we're stuck taking damage every turn, so not really the best situation. Murkrow hits the field, and it lands a feint attack for a little bit of damage. We get the Rock Slide off for an easy defeat, and then she sends in her signature Pokemon, her Houndoom. Now, it's faster. It lands a Crunch for big damage. We hit it with Return, which nearly takes it out, but a max potion and it's back up to full health. Our next return misses, and the curse brings us down to only 4 HP. At this point, it's over. We already know Houndoom is faster, and it easily takes us out with another crunch. You may see this as a defeat, but actually, I see this as a victory. I didn't think we were anywhere near strong enough to take on the Elite Four at this point, and we made it to Karen's second last Pokemon on our first try. I would say that's a very strong start and is very encouraging for this run. We did some grinding and we got up to level 72. We tried the Elite Four again and lost exactly the same way. Curse plus Houndoom speed got us again. We did a little grinding to level 73 and lost. We tried again at level 74 and lost. All exactly the same place in exactly the same way. It was pretty clear that we had to outspeed Gengar and possibly even Houndoom just to do this. Levels 75 through 79 were also losses. However, finally, at level 80, we tried it again, and we happened to level up at level 81 while facing Bruno. This time when we faced Karen, we outsped Umbreon with the Flamethrower victory. Gengar also went down. Amazing. This could be it. Murkrow fell to a Rock Slide. I said fell to a Rock Slide. Damn it, Jello. Murkrow fell to Rock Slide. Thank you. Finally. Took long enough, you useless volcano fart. Houndoom comes out, and oh my god, not only do we outspeed it, but actually OHKO it with a return. Last is Vileplume, which easily falls to a Flamethrower, and we did it. Finally, after so many hours of grinding, we finally took down Karen and her demon dog. And then my heart sinks as I remember who's next. Lance, the Dragon Master. Dragons who resist fire. How in the world are we going to do this? I heal up and face this psychopath, the man who attacks humans and is our toughest fight so far. First up is Gyarados, of course, a water type. We hit it with return and nearly finish it off? Wow, okay. It uses Rain Dance for some reason, and we take it out with a Body Slam. Huh, was not expecting that. He sends an Aerodactyl. Remember that it's part flying type. I go for a Rock Slide after it hits me with one first. Mine is much stronger and nearly takes it out. Dragonite is next, and once again, flying type. Damn, I forgot this. He's the Dragon Master, yet his entire team is flying typed. That's amazing. That means Rock Slide is going to be super effective against every single Pokemon he has. Another Dragonite comes out, and I use another Rock Slide. This is going so well. He even flinches, and I wreck it with Return. Charizard is next, and at this point, I notice something. He has 2 Pokemon left, but I only have 1 Rock Slide. I figure his last Dragonite is probably stronger than the Charizard, so I just go with Return. It's good enough to nearly kill it, and his Flamethrower does little to nothing. A second Return, and that takes him down. Last up, his level 50 Dragonite, and Rock Slide misses. Oh, great. Luckily, he wastes his turn using Safeguard, so we land Return. His Outrage does massive damage to us, but it's all over when we use one more Return to take it out. If he had used any damaging moves instead of Safeguard, we probably would have lost this. A win is a win though, and we have officially beaten Pokemon Gold with only a Slugma. I'm ecstatic, and I did not expect this. I actually didn't think that this would be possible. It's amazing. I'm so happy, and at this point, I'm yelling to my fiance that I actually won. We both just stare at the screen as Lance was defeated, and we're laughing at the words. What a great feeling. My next thought, though, was this, however. Post-game exists. At this point, Slugma's level 82 and struggled with the Elite Four, for which level 50 is the highest level Pokemon that's come out so far. That means we needed a 32 level handicap to win. Now, I don't see the Kanto gyms being a problem, because realistically they're similar levels to the Elite Four, with Giovanni being a tiny bit stronger. But Red. I know his strongest Pokemon is level 81, and with us requiring a 32 level handicap just to get through the Elite Four, I don't think it's going to be possible to get through him even if I hit level 100 with Jello. That said, I'm a glutton for punishment, stared at the horrific sight ahead of me, and ventured forth to Mount Silver, like a naive Frodo with his trusty Jello Sam by his side. In the interest of time, as this video is running pretty long already, and since everybody knows that all the Kanto leaders are weaker than most of the Elite Four members, I'm just going to show a quick montage of what took place, just super sped up. And yep, that's Jello putting in more work than anybody has ever done with the Slugma. Absolute MVP of a horrible, horrible Pokemon. But I have to admit I've gotten pretty attached to the slimy little fire dude right now. Through all this, and just getting to Mount Silver, Slugma managed to hit level 90. Well, it's now or never. I challenge Red, and he leads with his level 81 Pikachu. It is faster, as expected, and lands a Thunder, and that also causes paralysis. Of course, of all the luck. I use Flamethrower, and it takes it down. Nice. Espeon is next, and this thing is pretty horrifying. A single Psychic, and I'm down into the red. A Flamethrower brings it down quite far, but it's not good enough. That's it. The match is done, and I'm not even 2 Pokemon into this. Seeing how futile this is, I just decide to train to level 100 and try again. This time, Pikachu uses Charm to drop my attack. and I take it out with a single flamethrower. Perfect. Up next is Espeon again. This time, Psychic takes me down to about 3/4 health. The flamethrower finishes it off in one shot, and oh god, I read the words of what's coming out next. Blastoise. This thing starts off with a rain dance, meaning not only are his water moves powered up, but my fire moves, the ones that I'm absolutely relying on, are powered down. Not only that, but the charm that we took earlier lowered our physical attack, i.e. everything that isn't flamethrower. I'm starting to see just how difficult of a fight this is going to be. Surf obviously takes us out immediately, so really, I don't have much of a chance here. From here, I challenge him again and again, using different tactics. I try swapping out the charcoal for leftovers, but now Flamethrower can no longer take out Espeon in one shot. Okay, so that won't work. I can't take 2 Psychics and expect to beat that Blastoise. Next, I try various berries, but that's even worse than the leftovers, so scrap that idea. Quick Claw is one that I decide to try next. Now, in Gen 2, this item gives me a 23% chance of attacking first. With such low rates, I did this battle many times just to see the different outcomes. I was also playing around with Sunny Day at this point, and I decided to get rid of Body Slam for it. I did notice something interesting through these attempts, however. Very rarely, Pikachu would use Thunderbolt instead of Charm or Thunder. It only does about 60 damage when it uses Thunderbolt, so that actually greatly increased our chances here. In this exact same battle, Espeon also did something strange. Instead of leading with Psychic, it used Reflect to boost its defense. Very interesting. With Sunny Day being active, I was able to OHKO the Espeon and actually take no additional damage for once. Blastoise is up next, and from many attempts, I knew that it using Rain Dance was all but guaranteed as the first move. Also knowing that I'm slower, I set up Sunny Day to negate it. I see a bit of a strategy brewing here. However, it wasn't meant to be, and it outsmarted me by using another Rain Dance. I used a Flamethrower at this point, but it took me out. So here's where I pause to tell you that I spent the next hour trying this over and over again with no luck. The Pikachu didn't do the Thunder Shock again, and this entire time, we haven't had a single good setup. From here, I spent the next 2.5 hours to see if it was even possible to beat Red. I started resetting the game if Pikachu used anything but Thunderbolts, or if it missed a Charm or a Thunder. We got a few of these in the 2.5 hour span. The next thing that I needed to happen was either getting lucky with the Quick Claw to proc and OHKOing the Espeon with Flamethrower, or it leading with Reflect. Now, these things in tandem did occasionally happen, and I happened to get to Blastoise roughly every 15 to 20 minutes of restarting with these conditions. And on all of these attempts, I took either little or no damage at all. And here's that final piece of this battle puzzle. The complete random number of times that Blastoise uses Rain Dance. Since its defense is stupidly high, Return actually did less damage than a Sunny Day boosted Flamethrower. Blastoise will always use Rain Dance, but the number of times it uses it in a row is random. So to make things even worse, you have to remember that I was holding the Quick Claw. So during this battle, I had to make sure that during the Rain Dance portion setup itself, the Quick Claw did not go off, meaning that I had to have the last weather effect. But after that, I had to land a Flamethrower with a Quick Claw, because even after all of this setup, I still went down to Surf. Like I said, this took about 2.5 hours of figuring this strategy out, but it happened. I actually got all of these things to happen after about 2.5 hours. After the setup, Blastoise took more than half damage, and it even got burned off of my flamethrower. Crazy luck there. Another one of its surfs got me down to about half health, but my flamethrower ended up taking it out after it hit me with a third one and left me with only 40 HP. This is the first time we've ever gotten past Blastoise. Now, Snorlax comes out next, and Flamethrower does huge damage to it, but ultimately its Body Slam got me. So disappointing. After all of that, the stars lined up and we ended up losing. However, I just want to see if it's possible. So I try this for another 30 minutes, and amazing. We got that sweet Blastoise setup again, and no damage taken. I even managed to get a Quick Claw Flamethrower off to take nearly no damage. This has to be the run. We can't possibly ask for anything better than this. Snorlax comes out next, and Flamethrower brings it into the yellow, and then it uses Amnesia. Amazing. Another Flamethrower finishes it off. Second last Pokemon, and it's Charizard. Yes, okay. I start off with a Rock Slide after taking a little bit of damage, and it manages to OHKO it. Wow. Rock Slide coming in clutch. One Pokemon left, and it's Venusaur. A single Flamethrower, and it falls before our mighty Jello. And with that, I stand up after midnight, screaming at the top of my lungs, my fiance celebrating because she was hovering above my shoulders watching this play out. We actually did this. Now, this is an incredibly unlikely series of events to happen, as evident by the sheer amount of time it took, but it just goes to prove that if you have an incredible amount of time to waste, it is technically possible. So, there we go. Slugma, our fiery little Jello, has beaten one of the single strongest trainers in any of the mainline Pokemon games. By level. I mean, moveset wise, Gen 2 kind of sucks. But hey, that's a topic for another day. So a huge thanks to everyone that watched the video. And if you like it, let us know in the comments. If you have any suggestions of another challenge we should do, or even if you just like it, let us know. This was some of the most fun that I've ever had with a Pokemon game in years, and I would absolutely love to try another challenge. So if you want to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good night, everyone. Bye now.